Selamat datang. Oke, saya Reza. Saya akan bermain vampir dan melanjutkan vampir. Dan kita akan menuju lokasi dari blackmail di White Castle. Kita hitam yang ada di White Castle. Oke, kita lanjut bermain. Bagaimana saya menuju lokasi tersebut? Oke, cek. Mati. Anjay. Wow.
The bloody crime!
Wow.
The guards recruit more and more every year.
Oh, ini ada penjaganya. Oke, kita lanjutkan. Maju. Anjay, udah berbuff lagi nih. Maju werewolf lagi. Kaget saya. Kenapa ini? Kita serang lagi. Aduh. Siapa sih werewolf? Mengganggu. Ah, sini, kenapa nggak maju? Aduh, aduh. Ayo sini maju sama papa. Ingin malu-malu. Ayo maju.
I'll kill you!
Emang apa nih sekali? Coba kita ganti senjata. Kita gantiin.
Die, Bernie!
mendekat menuju tujuan.
Whitechapel. This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Mana? Bawah. Mati. Oh, bangun, Pak.
Fuck you all! Fuck it all! Stop it now, Albert! Stop it!
Nggak usah terbang.
Me,
Fun and
I'll not die in some piss stinking alley reeking worse than a week-old lavvy.
Ini apakah?
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer.
Benjamin
Doctor.
Palmer ternyata.
And no one can help me. Not even you.
You live in London. Tell me about this
What can you
place.
tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You know.
You don't have anywhere to go? No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean?
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. And now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
Ben the Tramp. Not Donald Trump.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Oh, anaknya dibunuh sebenarnya. Albert Palmer. Wow, anaknya
Whatever
dibunuh.
the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see, and the boy just faked me last nerve.
Oh, anaknya dibunuh.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Have you heard anything?
It's funny, I've been searching for her too. I need some pills.
But the
The
woman
woman
is
is a phantom, if you ask me.
phantom.
Really? And why is that?
Word is she ain't real. She's just a cover for some doctor who runs an illegal dispensary for migrants.
I have found a very interesting letter.
Surat.
Your son planned to prove his worth to the gang by stealing your medicine.
Oh, I see. So the little bugger thought he could use his dad to build a reputation.
The gang's recruiter was dead when I found him. Perhaps you should take better care of your son.
I love my Albert, sir. Believe me. It's just an
Asshole.
arsehole, I suppose. Anyway, thanks for the letter. This is for your trouble.
What is my problem? Ingredient. Wah, ini buat apa nih? Obat. Goodbye.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
Littering the streets. Not me.
Harusnya protes Q. Terus mereka pada objektif. Oh, ini siapa nih? Ini yang tadi.
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Yeah.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Doctor. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
Loretta, your miraculous formula wouldn't even cure a common cold, and you know it.
The Swanborough's cordial's secret ingredient is hope, Doctor. And it's something people around here really need.
A placebo effect is real and has benefit. But in your case, you could be murdering your customers, who may die because they are not receiving the necessary medical attention.
Medical attention? In Whitechapel? Trust me, my cordial is the best option they have, since it is the only one.
Obat alternatif.
Well, as it is a placebo of sorts, perhaps it may have some positive effect.
See? You have to admit I'm doing some good. The Swanborough family is not poisoning anybody, Doctor.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
Let's trade.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling.
Kita mau tukar apa ini? Okay.
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems.
Wah,
As long as you have the money.
marketingnya sangat keren sekali ini.
When science fails you, this elixir will give you faith again.
Obat alternatif.
Its effectiveness has been proven by
Oh, itu ye. Ye, objektifnya di sini. Seluruh. Okay.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Investigasi action. Wah, ini kita harus mengidentifikasi. Bronkitis ternyata, teman-teman. What are you doing?
There's nobody here.
Mungkin saya akan mencari jalan lain. Sini kah? Oh, kemana kau, Pak? Gila.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me, just downwind.
I cannot enter. I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Find the inhabitant What Chapel, find Richard Nethercott and Clayton Darby.
It's locked.
Kan aku bisa terbang, mamen. Oke, kita mencari ketiga misi. Waduh, ini vampir di sini. Wush. Ajoy. Kita cari, kita masuk pintu situ kah? Oh, tidak. Sini kah? Nope. Ini bisa lewat kah? Aduh, ada ini lagi. Dia bawa senjata apa tuh? What the fuck, man? Wush. Gas. Mati. Oh, dia membawa gas. Apa tuh? Panas, panas, panas. Ampun, Pak Le. Gas, air mata. Ini senjatanya berbahaya ini. Poking. Waduh. Ayo, mati. Body hair. Mati. Oke, kita masih lanjut ke atas kah? Kayaknya kita upgrade nih. Tapi kayaknya ini ada werewolf. Ayo mamen, mati yo. Aduh. Ayo kita sama level 10. Lanjut. Ayo. Wow. Aduh. Lagi. Apa ini? Oke, kita cari lambang Y. Nggak bisa. Di atas ternyata. Oke, kita mencari Clayton. Oh, maybe ini kah? Tapi ini kayaknya bukan. Nah, itu sih.
It's not my call, Barrett. You pay one way or another. Please, Joe. How long have we known each other? We even used to be neighbours, for Christ's sake. I'd prefer not to give you another beating, Barrett.
Oke, kita
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
Kita cari bisnis semua
How is
apa?
business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put business once and for all. As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Wow.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever. Madness. Something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Nothing.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Good sign. Okay.
Right then. Show me what you have.
Kamu jual apa? Ada semua saya ini. Putera supaya terampil serta. Ambil tiket. Duh, mana orang tadi? Apakah dia?
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one. So piss off.
I'm not a journalist. I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Your life is London.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Do you enjoy?
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
Oh, jahat sekali. You are criminal.
You are a criminal who endorses criminal activity. The least you could do is stop hiding behind this pretense.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Oke, kita cek dulu apakah saya download atau tidak. Di sini.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in.
What is
I'm
this?
Harry, by the way.
Harry.
Is there only
Harry
pain
Potter.
and suffering in this world?
So, May I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine.
Cilalah untuk sakit. Haha.
I'm just tired of being sick
Yes,
all the time.
like corona.
If only I could be tough like... Well, you know.
Speaking of which, what can you tell me about your father?
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Not happy.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
Okay.
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What happened, Harry?
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your father's actions.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Colossus Joe.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I was very sick. She said I should go out more.
Yes.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams are soaked with glue.
Atas.
It's locked, all right.
Ya lock lah. Oh, personal hunter. Real. Vampyr is real. Yeah, among of us. Surprise letter. Tim step brothers and stem. But job in the dockyard. No, aduh. Tolak. Bapaknya. This.
Even my dreams are soaked with glue. Is there only pain?
Saya suka mencuri.
May I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
I can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Okay.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams are soaked with glue.
Siapakah ini? Kita berkomunikasi dengan orang-orang.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
If no one stops it, this epidemic could turn into a scourge. It may kill more people than the war itself.
Yes, this is another kind of war, but just as deadly. History will judge us all for what we did and what we did not.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist. Hoping to sell some stories.
Okay. Nothing.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved with unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be Dorothy Crane?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
Never go.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
Dia tidak pernah
He
keluar.
never goes out. No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Oke, sudah semua.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Ini bukan tuh. Kelihatan Darby, ini pendatang apa ini?
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son.
Mr. Whittaker.
Father Tobias Whittaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
I'm more lost than you.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
I'm listening.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic.
Yes.
But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the
beginning of.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
What is your
Really?
plan?
And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing
Cleansing
of
of
the
this
city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
This guy.
Science and progress are our only hope against the monstrosity hidden behind this epidemic.
See, Doctor? Now you acknowledge the presence of evil within the city's walls. Now you start to admit the truth.
Okay, sudah. Question.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Ternyata dia adalah anggota grup komunis.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Yourself.
I've been touched by God's grace. I am perfectly healthy.
Okay. Sehat.
I have heard enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Oke, kita bisa masuk ke gereja ke.
Don't be shy, handsome.
Whoa,
What can
handsome.
Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick, though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed, or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Uang melupakan segalanya.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The
War.
war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price of your medicine.
Fatigue.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Okay. Okay.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Floor pocket is what for medical checkup. Gratis nggak? Camellia adalah Camellia.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it?
Bisu.
Camellia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever.
Bisu. Okay.
Very well. Goodbye then.
Find the mailbox. Dimanakah the mailbox? Terus Petrus.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. I cannot enter.
Kenapa? Aku bisa mencolot coba. Bisa enggak? Nggak bisa.
It's locked.
Terkunci. Kita cari.
I'm cheap and I'm poor.
Around you.
PSK. Oke. Tiga sekaligus. Aduh, gigit.